Hello, welcome back to the Archer's Way podcast, and today is going to be talking about Heartstopper Season 2. I'm basically going through each of the seasons that have been coming out, just so when Season 3 comes out, we're all up to date and we're ready to talk about it. So, Season 2 is probably one of my favourite seasons out of Heartstopper so far, as we have quite a lot of things. We have prom, Paris trip, parents' evening, sleepovers, and so much more. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so in the story, at this point, Nick and Charlie are now in a relationship and Nick is planning to come out, which of course is a big thing to everyone else. And this season kind of follows him doing that kind of thing and discussing with Charlie to see how he could do it. And it also brings in Charlie's mental health into it as well. So there are lots of kind of small things that are being teased in season 1 about it, but then as in season 2 it's kind of more explained and stuff. So basically how it all starts is it's literally picks up the end of season 1, which of course is the beach scene and Nick coming out to his mum. The next day Charlie gets ready to go to school and Nick tells Charlie that he came out to his mum and it went really well. And we kind of see the boyfriend stage that they are in, which I think is really nice to see, especially how far we've seen the characters grow throughout season 1 and then straight into season 2. They're much more getting ready. So one of my favourite scenes for season 2 is actually a massive segment. Now, people are like, how is this your favourite scene? It's more like 3 episodes. Well, my favourite episodes or scenes has got to be the Paris trip. I remember reading volume 3 of Heartstopper, which is basically what this volume is based on, is that the Paris trip is really interesting because they go to, of course, Paris, and they go to all these monuments and stuff like this, but then more has been added into the show to make it a bit more interesting. This is also the season where we get to see Tao and Elle become a bit more than friends. They realise they actually do like each other, and then there's like a date at Montmartre, which is really, really cute. And it's just such a cute time to see like them all hanging around together, and especially the Paris squad begins to form, which is of course a famous thing in the books, which is Nick, Charlie, Tara, Darcy, Tao, Elle, and then Imogen has been added and Isaac has been added. I know that there were a lot of questions on the last video about Imogen and Isaac. Who are they? They have been characters that have been added into the show. They're not in the books. But recently in a Q&A, Alice did draw them in comic book form. If you haven't seen that, do go and check it out because it's 100% worth it. So that's really cool, and that group kind of forms. We start to see the friendship group that all happens in there. And also we see characters speak to other characters that we don't normally see. So a really good scene to show that would 100% be Charlie and Tara, as they really have a connection and a talk about each other and how they feel. And Tara goes, I'm really jealous of you and Nick because you can just like hold hands. It shows that you're really in love and you're open to speak to each other. Unlike Tara and Darcy, Charlie goes, I wish I could have the same thing as you and Tara because you guys can hold hands, kiss in public, which of course Nick can't do because he's scared about coming out to all of his friends and stuff like this. We also meet some brand new characters along the way. So one of the characters that we meet is Stefan, who is Nick's dad, and he lives in Paris. There's a brilliant scene with Nick and his dad in Paris where you can tell that Nick's dad doesn't really understand who Nick is as a person, which is really interesting. And also Charlie is brought along and the questions come up and the boys just sit there and be like, yeah, I'm his best friend, even though they don't want to say that. They want to say, yeah, he's my boyfriend. That's basically it. Which I think is really interesting, and it kind of contrasts to the later scene where there is a dinner party with the Springs and Nelsons. They all kind of meet, and we get 2 amazing elements. So of course we meet David, who is Nick's older brother, who everyone literally hates. He is an asshole. He's very homophobic. He kind of questions Charlie a lot about who he is to Nick, and also tries and basically try and makes him come out to his dad, but he doesn't want to. But there's a brilliant scene in that dinner party scene where Nick kind of stands up to his father and his brother and says like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm living my life. I'm living the life that I want, which I think is really good. And we also see like Tori, who, as of course we know from season 1, is kind of protecting Charlie and Nick. And she does this brilliant scene, which you need to go and watch, is where David is sitting on the stairs talking to someone, and basically she kicks the phone downstairs, which is so epic, and I love it because it's a moment from the book. I'm so happy that's done. One of my favourite moments from Paris also is basically just the bits when they are like spending time together. I love the what's it called, the walk up to the Eiffel Tower. I think that's really, really cool because you get to see them all playing around. You get to see like them being a bit childish and stuff like this. So I am going to divert a bit, and I'm going to start talking about a new character has been popped in that I think has had so much more interest in, which is Mr. Farouk and Mr. Ajayi. Mr. Ajayi is the art teacher, and Mr. Farouk is a science teacher, and I think a sports teacher at the same time. I don't know. I can't really remember. But they have a really nice scene, which I think it should be spoken about, which is where they are standing next to vending machines. They've just caught Nick and Charlie like walking around being naughty, just kissing and stuff. And basically they have a conversation where Mr. Ajayi goes, oh yeah, I wish I had that. I wish I could have this thing. And then Mr. Farouk says, I wish I could have that. I wish I could go back through my teenage years and have that gay experience. Which I think is really interesting because most adults don't realise about their sexuality until older, when they're older and stuff. And some people don't really understand, and some people have been questioning it over the years and not ready. So I think that's really interesting. So yeah, I think I 100% think that should be more talked about. And I hope that is more talked about. I hope we do get to see them in season 3. But yeah, I think season 2 as a season is brilliant. The conflicts that are brought up with Darcy's mum and David and Stefan is really good, especially the idea of coming out. It's not pressured, you can do it when you want to. The prom scene and that last scene, which leaves us on a cliffhanger, which I'm going to talk about a bit. So the cliffhanger is that Nick and Charlie spend time together and they have this really intimate conversation about how they're feeling, and we get to hear about Charlie's bullying and also his eating disorder, and we basically get to understand that Nick does really care about his boyfriend. He really does care. So that's really cool. And by the end, we kind of get to a point where Charlie walks off home, they say goodnight, and he's about to send the I love you text. But we don't know if he's going to send it or if he is. And I think, well, you're going to have to find out what I think in the next episode of The Archer's Way. I hope you enjoyed this, and don't forget to subscribe, leave comments down below on your thoughts and seasons, and I'll see you then. Bye!